This is NDTV, and you're watching Classics.
It's 8 o'clock in the morning and it's a rather chilly day here in Bangalore, so I'm glad that today's boss has invited us for a hot cup of coffee rather than a gym workout. Hello and welcome to today's Boss's Day Out, where we're going to be spending the entire day with Neeraj Sharma, MD South Asia of Lenovo, to find out how he spends his working day.
Hi, good morning. Come on in.
Hi.
Hi, come on in.
Hi. So, do you normally start your day this early? It's just 8 o'clock, or is this an exception for us?
No, this is just the right time, so I guess we are just on time.
Oh, perfect. What do you like doing in the mornings? Is it walking, gymming?
I get up quite early in the morning, do gym about twice a week, mostly on weekends. Read my newspaper, head for the puja room before we sit down as a family for breakfast together.
I also heard that you're quite an avid golfer.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time playing golf as well. I used to play a lot when I was in Singapore, so picked that habit up from there. So that's an interesting game, keeps you occupied.
Okay, so I guess I won't keep you waiting. We'll get started.
Yeah. So let me just head off for the puja room for some time, and then we can go off for breakfast. Yeah, thanks.
We are now off to the Lenovo office to see the kind of work that's been done there and to speak with some of the employees.
Hi, look here.
You were earlier with IBM and now you're with Lenovo. How different has the change really been for you?
Well, it was great working for IBM because it's an organization with just such solid strengths. It sets the foundation for the way you work. I think the move into Lenovo was very challenging, at the same time exciting, because it gave us an opportunity to add a new dimension to my work personally, and also it gave us the opportunity to set up a brand new organization. So I must say the experiences have been varied, and they've been complementary to each other.
And what is the kind of work that's being done out of India?
Well, if you look at India, India is headquartered in Bangalore, and we are spread in all the major metros across the country. We touch on a face-to-face basis. We touch about 45 cities. We have a dealer network that is spread across over 200 cities with over 1,500 partners that we work with. So it's essentially a sales network that we have across the country, and we also have a manufacturing facility in Pondicherry where most of the products that we make are manufactured. The Lenovo range of notebooks, desktops, our ThinkPads, our ThinkCenters, they're all made out of Pondicherry.
So what is the first thing that you do the minute you get to office?
Well, as I step into office, I typically have some energy rolling into the office by greeting most of my employees. Get into my room quickly to check, any urgent mails and to see whether there are any urgent meetings that I need to add to my calendar. So that typically I like to start off my day knowing what's ahead in store for me and planning up things if I need to make some changes, etc. So that's how I typically start my day.
So is there a lot of work that's been left pending over the weekend? Something everyone is very interested in knowing, what is the kind of resistance, or did you face any resistance considering you were a Chinese company and there's a lot of opposition to Chinese companies that are trying to enter the so-called Western market?
Well, I think we are a new world company. If you look at us, we are based headquartered out of the U.S. We have principal operations in Beijing. We have operations around 64 cities countries across the world. So in a sense, we are more focused with a more entrepreneurial spirit of the new world. And I think the way we look at it is we do have Chinese heritage, but if you look at the way our board is constituted, we have a mixture of Americans, Chinese, Britishers. So it's a very modern work company, if I may say so. And if you talk about eventually launching a company in any country, I think there are when you set about getting the presence of a company felt in a country, you've got to start working on your brand. You've got to spend about from anywhere from 6 months to 2 to 3 years to build up the brand. I think today a lot of our people do know what Lenovo stands for in the marketplace, what the values of Lenovo are in the marketplace. So I think for us, for example, we have a great product of the ThinkPad line, and we have such a loyal customer base on ThinkPad that they absolutely love using.
So you were lucky in the sense that you didn't face any resistance.
Well, I think the transition was very smooth. We did have to go out and establish ourselves in the marketplace. We did go out and launch ourselves, and we did one of the early things that we did was to make sure that we invested the right amount of money in our brand. And that's something that we did during the course of the announcement, post the announcement, and even we continue to invest on it on a regular basis. And one of the fundamental shifts that we did really take was also to be present in TV as a medium, which really made us present right across the country. We were earlier very focused on print and events.
How aggressive is your marketing strategy, considering you've talked about expanding your reach?
I think India is a huge focus market for us, and we are very aggressive. We really want to grow faster than market. We want to invest in most of the vectors of our business, whether it is branding, marketing, or even in our sales team. So we are looking out at taking and making sure that we tap the potential of the country. If you look at India, the PC penetration of the country is not very strong. We still have a long way to go. So I think there is an opportunity that we really need to tap.
So how are you tackling that area?
There are a lot of things that we are doing. One of the focus areas that we have for us is as India gains maturity in terms of how we spread ourselves, we are focusing on being present in the smaller cities across the countries. We are trying to reach to smaller customers and also make sure that our geographical presence is better. We are looking at expanding our retail network. We are looking at expanding our reseller network. At the same time, we are also working closely with our counterparts in the US as well as in Japan and Beijing to make sure that we get the right products for the Indian market.
So I guess that is something we are going to catch at the marketing meeting, where you're going to talk about the brand ambassadors and how successful they've really been for expanding the Lenovo presence here in India.
That's absolutely true. I think we're heading off into a meeting where we want to take a charge of what we've done in the last 6 to 9 months in terms of the branding with the ambassadors, and how do we need to take it to better heights, and how do we make sure that every household in India recognizes Lenovo as a strong premium brand. Good morning, Ajay.
Hey, morning.
Hey, how's the weekend?
Good. Easy.
Hi.
That's Ajay. He heads our brand and marketing business, and he's been working with us for a long time, and he's come back from Singapore. Let's get into this one. Hi, Anil. So Nanda, this is Anil. He looks after our transactional business. He's the person who's responsible for our consumer business and the small, medium enterprise business. So the launching of the new products, the business part of it, delivering the numbers as we call it in that business is Anil's responsibility. So he's really the one who's driving, buying of Lenovo products in every nook and corner in the country.
How important is the SMB business for Lenovo?
I think it's extremely important for us. 2 or 3 reasons for it. It's one, a new market for us, so the opportunity of growth is very, very high. Secondly, it also helps us establish our brand name in a much wider base. So for us, it's an extremely important market.
Out of the total pie, what percentage would you say is the SMB market for you?
See, we've been relatively new in the consumer space. We actually entered the market with consumer desktops and consumer notebooks only in March. So for us, we are growing very, very fast. And it's a part of a larger market. If you look at it roughly, the consumer market would be about 35 to 40% of the total market.
And what's the kind of feedback? How is the method of feedback gotten from the consumers?
The method of feedback is done systematically through routes, through surveys. We typically tend to talk to a lot of customers, not only in India but everywhere else, then pick up, some of the key indications that come back from customers or what they would like to see in products, and then give it a definite shape back in the R&D team to see whether we can bring those technologies as quickly to the customer as possible.
Is there some way of tracking how many of these suggestions are really implemented into your products?
So what we really do is it's a very systematic approach that we follow across countries. The suggestions are then consolidated into what is the root cause that a consumer is looking at, and what are the leading technologies that we need to typically deploy. So there are top 3 or top 4 technologies that you sit back and think, yes, that we really need to deploy these technologies. We do a lot of focus groups as well, where people come back and say, yeah, this makes a lot of sense, and then get them actually into the lab.
What percentage of your investment is in R&D? Say for last year, what were the figures like?
We really don't talk about our R&D numbers per se, but I can confidently say one thing, that we are a company that believes in innovation. We believe in differentiation of our product line, and I think as a company, by and large, we invest amongst most of the brands around us. We invest the most in terms of our PC products.